Hi, I'm your host, Megalon Jones, and welcome back to another episode of the Sharp End of the Stick. We're doing Combat Mission Cold War again. This time, the scenario that comes with the game is Killing Time at Kirtorf. Now, I think they made a spelling error in the actual scenario name. There's a place in central Germany called Kirtorf. Either way, a cavalry troop has been assigned with stopping the advance of a motor rifle battalion. S2 claims that the Soviet battalion has not been committed to any type of offensive action, is all ready to go. It has not been attrited in any way. We are not going to get any reinforcements. We do have some off-map artillery and mortars, and we can expect at least 2 companies to be coming at us. Our forces are a combined arms cavalry troop with M60A1 tanks, M113 APCs, and the 4th platoon, that's the weapons platoon. So M901 tow carriers. The area we are fighting in is entirely defined by a plateau that runs up and down the map. It's the Kirtorf Plateau. I've deployed on either side of it in some good defensive terrain. I've got 2 infantry platoons. They are dismounted. Their APCs are hiding. 1st platoon is set up on the reverse slope of that hill I was just showing you. They are backed up by 2nd platoon. 3rd platoon is the tank platoon, and I've got them bunched up with 4th platoon, the weapons platoon, and they're split up into 2 armored groups, one right and one left. Now, initially, the scenario had me set up right on the forward slope of this hill. I'm not doing that. That seems like a good place to get RD'd. This here is the 2nd armor group. All my armor has easy access to really good hull down positions, and they have reasonable ability to support each other. Okay, so Team Papa. This here is how I'm set up. The entire idea is to try to cover the 2 egress routes that the Soviets, or I feel the Soviets, are going to use in order to exit the map. That's the point of this. I have to stop them from exiting the map. Now there's one route left of the plateau. There's one route right of the plateau. I'm kind of hoping they go straight down the middle, at which point all my guns are going to be on target. I've been given 4 target reference points, and I've used them in a way to coordinate my defenses with artillery. The match kicks off with the customary Red Army artillery barrage, and it lands right where I expected it to, the forward slope of the right hill. I'm now my 3rd scenario in Cold War where I've successfully avoided the Red Hammer of Doom, and I'm more than happy. Within the first 5 minutes, I start making spots of T-80s and BMP-2s on the left flank. They take up an overwatch position behind a copse of trees. I've kind of noted this in the setup, and I've got that zeroed in for artillery, hoping that they would use that as cover. With all the armor moving forward, I decide it's a good idea to get some eyes up front to make sure I'm not missing anything. So I move the left flank armored group up to overwatch positions in hull down. Ivan doesn't spot me, and I spend a couple turns observing and not shooting. I want to know exactly what I'm going to be facing before I give away my positions. The artillery starts to fall without any warning. Although it's hard to say what type of impact I'm having on the Soviets, I do notice some infantry have to go to ground, which is good. I would expect them to have some ATGM dismounts. And I want to make sure those are either incapacitated or outright killed. Once we make good spots on a T-80, I unleash the TOWs and the M60s. While all this is going on, another fast-moving group of Soviet armor shows up on my right flank. This is all changing my calculations. Okay, it's 8:03, and we've got two columns of T-80s backed up by BMP-2s going along the left and right flanks. In order to reinforce 1st Platoon, I've taken the right flank armored group and putting them in a hull down position in a valley so that they can act as sort of a fire department in case things get uncomfortable for 1st and 2nd Platoon. 3rd Platoon on the left is engaged with the original contacts we made, and I'm calling in artillery on either flanks to try to discourage BMP dismounts. Takes a number of volleys for my left flank armor in order to hit the T-80, or more accurately, brew it up, because the T-80 just kind of shrugs off a lot of direct hits. This large-scale overview is kind of giving you an idea of what's happening at about 8:05. We've got on the left, the Soviets are stopped, but on the right they appear to be setting up for an assault on my hill. That's 1st Platoon. I've called in artillery along the tree line there to try to blunt any type of infantry attack. I like my chances here. On the right flank hill, right in front of 1st Platoon, the Red Army comes charging out of that tree line, and 1st Platoon is heavily engaged. Although they don't take hardly any casualties aside from that APC you see there. Laws and Dragon ATGMs are able to start opening up on the Soviets before they are able to make spots. Now there's a part of a problem is that the ATGMs have to not hit trees, 1, and 2, when they hit, they actually got to penetrate, which the TOWs don't have much of a problem with. Now this next sequence of events is about a 45-second long thing in which I've got all these elements firing at a single T-80, and I want you just to watch how this thing just has no problem taking the American Sabo and ATGM rounds. Okay, it's hit. And I mean, I'm sure it's doing damage to it, but the tank is alive. So there's 3. There's more volleys coming. There's 4, 5. Now he's just popped smoke. 6, 7. 8, the tank is still standing there. 9 hits to the front glacis before it brews up. That's absolutely insane. And the really bad news is that the Soviets have committed the second motor rifle company to the attack. So there's a lot more T-80s and BMPs. The second motor rifle company gets engaged by my left-hand armored group. Honestly, this doesn't stop or even slow them down. They just absorb a few losses in BMPs, and the T-80 shrug off hits like that. And they're starting to return fire with ATGMs of their own and the big 125 smoothbore Soviet main guns on the T-80s. This is the first match I've played since the 1.01 patch where they've decreased the effectiveness of the American anti-tank weapons. And we're able to zap, oh, isn't that cute? The Zebra Sierra uniform goes down. I like that. But, yeah, as I was saying, the newest patch more accurately portrays the actual American Sabo rounds of the time. And it's now known that they would have been completely deficient. And so we are not able to really stop them as they just close in, take aim themselves, and start to return fire. The first couple minutes of the engagement, we get away unscathed, but by about the 3-minute mark, the Soviets are getting the range and are starting to really chew up my left-hand armor group. Okay, this is what sort of a meta-analysis of the battlefield as of right now. The Soviets are moving forward again, more or less in 2 columns, with the exception that they're weighted on my right flank. I like that because I've got the infantry in pretty good position there. However, my left flank armor is starting to get zapped to the degree that they are not going to be able to support what's going on across the battlefield. They either have to make some real hits or take cover. The first platoon is almost encircled. The Soviets are coming around their initial left flank and are starting to zap up their APCs, fire the autocannons into infantry positions. And we are in a little bit of a tough shape because I've burned through way too many Dragon ATGMs up against that first attack up straight up the hill. Second platoon moves forward its ATGM teams as a way to support first platoon. And get a load of this guy. This guy's got balls of steel. Watch this. I mean, don't get too excited because he's got a dragon, but I am impressed with him. He sits there and just takes multiple salvos where all this shit is exploding at him, and he misses. But that still is cool, and you know, he lives for another maybe 5 seconds. And yeah, there he goes. That definitely got him. Okay. With my left flank armor dead or severely damaged, I now have to piecemeal commit my right flank armor. And this is more or less going to be the height of the battle. Either these guys stop the attack or I lose. First platoon infantry holds its own despite losing their APCs. They are actually in really good shape. I put them to hide with the exception of the one remaining ATGM team that still has a couple dragons, and he uses it on a T-80, which doesn't do anything to the T-80. I can't stress this enough. The dragons are not killing the T-80s, but they will kill the BMPs all day long. Okay, so it's high noon on the right flank. I'm horribly outnumbered, and I'm able to make a few initial kills as we surprise the Soviets, but as they come over the crest of the hill, we're close enough that they can do one shot, one kill type things, where it may take, at this range, a couple of Sable rounds to take out the T-80s, and that's pretty much it. The scenario itself has another 20 minutes or so to go, and you're instructed not to offer the AI a ceasefire because the AI needs to get its troops to the exit area so that things can be properly accounted for. At this point, it's pretty much like an exercise for the Red Army in that I don't have anything shooting at them. All I have is infantry. Something like this is sort of like a Mayday parade, and it ends with a tactical defeat for me. So I've got to rethink some things here. With the new patch, the T-80s, and I imagine the T-64s even more so, are just absolutely fearsome. And if I made a mistake, I think it ends up being defeat in detail because I split up the armor force. They were able to destroy my left flank armor first and then have no problem with the right flank armor. And I was not expecting the toughness. I mean, I knew the Soviet tanks were tough, but I was not quite expecting this level. So what I think you got to do is figure out how to allow them to get in close, engage en masse, and try to maximize flank shots. So I'm calling this the terrible twosome, the T-80s, T-64s, and the BMP-2s. The United States doesn't have anything really to counter that yet. I'm still waiting to see the M60A3 TTS, which will allow us to see through smoke, which means we can lay down our own smoke screens and then shoot the Soviets when they're blind. That's what I'm aiming for next scenario.
She's the swingin'est ghost you've ever yearned for, haunting a pre-will reading seance.
I thought I made it clear to you and your wretched crew that you would dispose of everybody before I read the will.
What you have to do is to see that my rightful heirs get the money.
Yeah, man, here's one haunted house the M Gang wants to investigate.
What are all these strange people doing here?
Make the music pretty, play a happy song. Make the music pretty or I can't go on. Everybody's singing about a broken heart. Don't you know, can't you see it's tearing me apart now? Make the music pretty and I'll tell you why. Make the music pretty or you'll make me cry. Let me hear you play a happy melody. Come on and make the music pretty for me.
Television repairman.
Just take a look into my eyes.
Looking for maybe Sex and the Single Ghoul? Here's a movie that has more than everything.
When you need me, when you want me, hey baby, let's go. Geronimo, yeah, Geronimo.
Why me? Why me all the time?